Not one more is so powerful. It is all encompassing. Not one more lost minute, lost life, lost moment of joy, person feeling isolated and abandoned, feeling worthless. Not one more minute of pain.
Not one more person who cannot have access to care. Not one more day that someone has to feel so isolated and alone. And not one more person who has to lose their life to an eating disorder.
We will continue to stand together and fight until not one more life is lost to an eating disorder.
Not one more smile, not one more laugh, not one more special moment, and especially not one more life is stolen by an eating disorder.
Not one more family feeling like they caused their loved one's eating disorder.
Not one more person living in isolation or shame when it comes to their chronic illness journey.
Breaking down the walls of injustice, allowing our families and friends to heal from the trauma that we are experiencing now and in the past, and having the courage as individuals to heal and recover and do better.
Not one more person feels like they aren't thick enough to receive help or isn't believed because of the identities they hold. Not one more person should suffer because they aren't believed.
Not one more individual with an eating disorder suffering in silence. And not one more family trying to navigate this journey alone without support. Too many lives are lost to this disease.
Not one more human will believe the lie that they are not worthy, they are not enough, or they do not deserve full recovery from their eating disorder.
Not one more child having to grow up, watch someone they love struggle with an eating disorder.
At Center for Discovery, Not One More means making a commitment to building safe and inclusive spaces so that all of our patients can access their path to recovery.
Not one more person has to miss out on this amazing, beautiful, and joyful journey that we call life due to their eating disorder.
Not one more time that we hear our nation's leaders tell us eating disorders are not a priority.
Not one more loss to the belief that a number on the scale defines our worth.
No person suffering with an eating disorder or affected by an eating disorder should have to go without appropriate treatment due to insurance barriers.
Not one more life lost to an illness that's treatable with the right care. Not one more insurance denial because someone doesn't meet criteria, and not one more human believing recovery is not possible for them, because it's not only possible, it's already happening.
Not one more person who doesn't get help, who doesn't get healing, who doesn't get support, whether that means because they have an eating disorder or because they just have a difficult relationship with food and body like so much of our society does. Everyone deserves care.
Not one more individual unable to access treatment for their eating disorder due to insurance or financial barriers.
Not one more healthcare professional failing to be trained on how to recognize, diagnose, and treat eating disorders.
Not one more person going without the resources that they need in a time of crisis.
Not one more person has to feel alone in these illnesses. Not one more person struggling with an eating disorder, not one more family member, not one more friend, because there is hope and help and support out there for you.
You're not alone in this fight. When we use our voices, when we build community, we can make it so that not one more person has to suffer in silence.
Eating disorders are an injustice. Eating disorders are something we all need to fight, and we all need to unify to do it together. It's time for not one more day.
Not one more person deemed not sick enough, and not one more story deemed not neat enough. It means telling every person that they are enough, and that the messy threads of our stories are what tie us together.
Not one more individual having to jump through hurdles to find an appropriate, specialized, trained eating disorder treatment team.
Not one more senator or member of Congress is without the vital facts they need, or for that matter, the courage they may require to dismantle barriers to eating disorders care for everyone who stands in need.
Not one more minute, day, hour, weeks, years, feeling alone and thinking that you will never fully recover from this eating disorder.
Not one more.
Not one more. Not one more.
Not one more.
Not one more moment lost to this insidious disease.